But we talked a little bit about some of the things that came into your awareness during that time, and how, I think and you tell me if I'm right, if I understood our conversation correctly, that, it was kind of the first part of a pivot that you did in your life, where you've kind of started to take a different direction with interests and work.
Majorly, yeah. Well, one thing, so on Avatar, we had a lot of free time as a performer. Um, we were at the time, Jim was really pushing the motion capture technology. I mean, he pushes the technology in any endeavor he takes on, and especially with that project, that it was technologically. It was just a lot there, a lot to work with the motion capture, real time, everything he was doing. So we had constant, we call them crashes, the computer crashes. All right, actors, go in the back waiting room, and
Mm,
the AD would yell out, and we'd go back, and we're like, okay, how long are we back here? And sometimes hours.
yeah.
So that right around that time is when YouTube started coming out, and this was before they started censoring everything. Uh, this is when YouTube was actually
Yeah.
cool. Um, and after we got through all the cat videos, we then, which we probably watched every cat video that existed at that time. Um, we probably watched every YouTube video that existed at that
You're
time
like,
period.
when does YouTube part two come out? Because we finished part one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what happened is Zeitgeist and Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project
Oh
and
yeah.
um, Loose Change and all these documentary films that I had never heard of were released on YouTube. So we had access to this stuff. And myself and the team of actors in the back, our minds were getting blown. Like we were
Yeah.
watching this stuff, just like, oh, what? No way! That can't. The towers? Who? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Um, so it was really sort of red pilling us. Simultaneously, we're working on a film that has to do. Our homework as actors is I had to learn about indigenous cultures. I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn physically, how they dressed and everything. A lot of Cameron had on set uh, posted all over the stage all these different pictures from different indigenous
Oh
tribes
wow.
around the world, and using their jewelry and how they dressed in different uh, modalities of
Yeah.
from the types of weaponry they had, from knives for cutting fish and
Mm-hmm.
to everything. So all of that was like taken into consideration in designing the Navi. And he encouraged us to look at all these different indigenous cultures and implement, their ideas, their teachings, and their belief systems, and as much as we could as performers, so we could then
Yeah.
that would come out into the performance, because that's how we're performing. We're
Right.
this Navi, this indigenous race of blue being
Yeah.
with cattails and ears.
Yeah.
Um, and we had to be as realistic as possible. And Jim was a stickler for detail.
Yeah.
So I learned about ayahuasca. I learned about indigenous teachings in general and the belief systems, and all this stuff was happening simultaneously as we're getting red pilled behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
from these documentaries. And then lo and behold, a couple years into it, maybe a year or two into it, in 2007, I had a sighting, uh, which really rocked my world. I'd already sort of started the research going down the Stephen Greer path
Yeah.
and getting red pilled from his stuff. And once I had the sighting, my mind was blown.
So tell me about the sighting, dude. You gotta tell me about the sighting now.
Well, it's pretty basic. I mean, if you look at it compared to all the sightings out there now.
Yeah.
Um, I was just one rare weekday. I had a day off from Avatar, and I had, because of my busy schedule from working on all day on Avatar and then going to my studio and working. We were on Skype calls to
Yeah.
Japan every night and working these crazy hours. I my laundry had like built up, and I was like, okay, I'm staying home today. I got to do laundry. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, this is the only time to do it. So I lived in a little one-bedroom apartment in Glendale, and um, took the laundry house was like just outside, a couple doors down. You have to like actually exit the building, go down, put the laundry in, and I popped out of the laundry unit and looked in the sky, and I saw all these little white specks in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of squinted. I was like, "What is that? Is that, are those bugs?" And I'm trying to get a
Yeah.
distance, a depth perception of what's going on there. And then I saw a plane fly through, and the plane was before me. So I was like, no, those aren't bugs. Bugs would not be doing that. Um, and then the more I looked, the more they started appearing. And they
Mm.
looked almost like stars. And I'm like, how do stars show up in a clear blue sky in the middle of the day? And how come there's more popping up now? I'm like, I'm looking in the sky. I'm like, oh my God.
Mm.
And this went on for quite some time. I was like, okay, I can't take my eyes off of this. This is phenomenal. Whatever this is happening is incredible. And I just kept watching it for about 45 minutes.
Wow, dude. Wow.
These things, and they slowly moved in the sky much faster than stars would, but it seemed almost as if they were tracking with the rotation of the Earth in a
Right.
sense, but they were heading east, which wait, let's see if the rotation of the Earth is so yeah, that's sort of how stars
Yeah.
would go, but they were moving like in 45 minutes. They did cover quite a bit of
Right.
territory, and then they started disappearing one by one. Just boom, boom, boom,
Just
boom,
kind of
boom, boom.
winking out.